In sports news, one of Nigeria's medal hopefuls in the table tennis event, Segun Toriola, has crashed out. Toriola, who advanced to the second round of the male singles yesterday, was beaten 4-2 by his Japanese challenger Niwa Koki today. The 41-year-old is making a record 7th appearance in the competition. Toriola's ouster is a big setback for Nigeria's ambition to return home with medals. Two Nigerian female players, Funke Oshonaike and Idem Ofyong, fumbled in the women's singles. Meanwhile, today's scheduled rowing was cancelled after high winds made the course unsuitable for racing. The action at the Rodrigo Lagoon had already been subject to delays before a decision was taken to cancel for the day. And that meant that events including the men's singles sculls recharge, women's singles sculls and men's coxless pair were all pushed back. The International Rowing Federation said the rough weather had affected the boys' system which marks the course. Russian athletes are banned from competing at Rio 2016 Paralympics following the country's doping scandal. International Paralympic Committee had opened suspension proceedings following the McLaren report and has now confirmed the ban. The reports published last month claimed Russia had operated a state-sponsored doping program. The International Olympic Committee chose not to give Russia a blanket ban from the Olympic Games.
The facts really do hurt. They are an unprecedented attack on every clean athlete who competes in sport. The anti-doping system in Russia is broken, corrupted, and entirely compromised. Everything we have observed goes against the very spirit of sport and everything the Paralympic movement stands for. This is why we feel that we had no option but to take this action. Tragically, this situation is not about athletes cheating the system, but about a state-run system that is cheating the athletes.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic scored the winner as Manchester United won their first silverware under Jose Mourinho after beating Leicester in the Community Shield at Wembley. Leicester's Shinji Okazaki headed against the bar before Jesse Lingard fired United ahead after a fine run. Manchester United controlled possession before Marwan Fellaini's error allowed Jamie Vardy to equalise after half-time. Summer signing Ibrahimovic headed home Antonio Valencia's cross to win it. Meanwhile, Paul Pogba is set to undergo a medical at Manchester United after being given permission by Juventus. This means the summer's biggest transfer is a step closer to completion ahead of United's opening Premier League game against Bournemouth on the 14th of August. Man United themselves confirmed the news later with a statement on their official website. Pogba left Old Trafford in 2012 on a fee transfer, but is now close to returning for what will be a world record fee. Ikorodu United's quest to escape relegation from the Nigeria Professional Football League has suffered a huge setback. The Lagos outfit failed to hold on to a first-half lead as they were forced to a 1-1 draw by visiting Shooting Stars Sports Club of Ibadan at the Unicon Stadium. Chinedu Onyelonu scored in the 25th minute to put the hosts ahead after a brilliant exchange of passes with Moses Ebie. But Ibrahim Ajani equalized in the dying moments to secure valuable points for Shooting Stars.
But then that is football. I've seen players miss from even closer distances, even at the World Cup. But brilliant finishing. He got thumped to the top of the net.
Can they hold on in the remaining few minutes of this match? A cross comes in. The header, it's the equalizer. And it is Ajani Ibrahim. Ikorodu United They can't hold on. Ikorodu United, they can't.
Away from sports news, no fewer than 20 people have been killed by floods in Macedonia. Some of the victims reportedly drowned in their cars. The water level reached as high as 5 feet in some of the affected areas of the capital, Skopje.
As much as 3.5 inches of rain is said to have fallen in Skopje, which according to meteorologists is more than the average for the whole of August. The water level reached as high as 5 feet in some of the affected areas. Northern suburbs of Skopje were particularly hard hit, with many homes flooded and without electricity. Some are reported to have collapsed. Police says 22 people have been hurt during the storm. Special police forces and trucks loaded with drinking water were heading for the most affected areas. The rain had stopped on Sunday morning and water levels have begun receding, but more rain was forecast for later. Authorities have declared a crisis situation in Skopje and Tetovo for the next 15 days. The EU says it is ready to help Macedonia, which is seeking membership into the continental bloc.
There's been a huge rally going on in Istanbul, Turkey, in support of Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan's efforts to stamp out plotters of last month's coup attempt. The president himself was at the rally, joined by opposition leaders. He addressed the crowd, saying the Turkish parliament will decide on the death penalty for offenders, saying he will approve the decision made by parliament. He called out the EU, which has been against the death penalty, questioning its remarks about Turkey when countries like the United States and Japan and China practice it. The president also accused supporters of US-based cleric Fethullah Gulen, whom he accused of being behind the coup. Results coming in from the referendum in Thailand show voters want a draft constitution that was written by an army-appointed committee, with unofficial tallies showing that 61.45% voted in favor. Supporters of the new document say it will restore stability. Critics, however, insist it will only strengthen military control. The Election Commission said voter turnout had been about 55%, well below a target figure of 80%. Campaigning against the draft was banned in the run-up to the referendum, while about 200,000 police officers were deployed to maintain law and order. And the main news again. The House of Representatives Chief Whip Al-Hassan Ado Doguwa today dismissed allegations of budget padding by Abdul Mumin Jibrin. The lawmaker described the allegations and petitions as frivolous and baseless. Also today, gunmen killed 11 soldiers during raids on gun runners' hideouts in Boso local government area of Niger State. Finally, the death toll in freak floods in Macedonia's capital, Skopje, has risen to 21 following torrential rain. The victims' bodies were found early today, while several people are still missing. That's it on the news at 10 tonight. Thanks for watching. I am Amarachi Bani. Good night.